Alright, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. My name's Aqua. I'm a Battlefield player for a long time. I've got, since 2016, 2017, I've been playing on controller, on Xbox controller, playing Battlefield games. So I've got a lot of experience on different bits and bobs and whatnot. Battlefield is very technical and very settings demanding. Knowing what to change, how to change it, comes in play big time with Battlefield controller settings. Night and day, really, difference between being able to play controller. I am on PC, but I play controller. Alright, let's get into it. First off, we'll get into the controller settings. I use a infantry aim sensitivity of 70 to 80. Right now I'm 70. This game, I've always preferred to have a higher sensitivity in Battlefield, so the higher you can feel comfortable playing with this, the better, really, at the end of the day. Do not play inverted. No, thank you. Field of view is very weird in this game. I play 115. Personally, anything under 100 feels kind of too zoomed in for me. The slider is very weird. The lowest you can go is 85. So, like in previous Battlefields, it might have been like 50 or whatever. So, 120 is the max. I like 115. It's just a nice range. I use USA, or Uniform Infantry Aiming, Zoom Sensitivity Coefficient 133. This is very confusing. A lot of people don't really know what this does. I don't really know exactly what this does. There's a video on YouTube from a channel that I like to watch. His name is Silk OCE. He's a bigger Battlefield content creator. He goes over how the zoom sensitivity coefficient, or the UIA in this game, or USA. I play 133. The three options you want to try is either 0%, 133, or 178, right? I play 133. It feels really comfortable for me. It's a nice middle ground. Pretty much what this is your ADS when you're zoomed in. 0% is really slow. 178 is basically a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you'd imagine you're playing, you take what you think with the analog stick of how you put the input in from left to right. Imagine you're trying to move your mouse from left to right. You got a mouse, right? You move your mouse from point A to point B. That's 20 centimeters, right? If you're on 178 and you move a mouse from point A to B, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. So it doesn't matter the scope. You'll pretty much do a 360 within that 20 centimeters. So you got to imagine it similar with the controller. From point A to point B with the controller, one's really high, makes it almost a 1-to-1 ratio with your hip fire, and 0% is going to really reduce your ADS speed. But unfortunately in this game, 0% doesn't really feel like it's working properly like previous old Battlefields. So like I said, this is a very confusing thing, but I would play with it on. Try 0%, 133, or 178. Aim assists, now I muck around with this a lot, but I like, so to break these three down, right, you have infantry aim assist slowdown, infantry aim assist zoom snap. The zoom snap is your auto rotation. If you're brand new, never picked up a controller in your life, you don't know how to play any form of FPS ever on a controller, turn this to 100%. I have no issue with that. The Battlefield aim assist is not that strong, and it will help you out. If you have any form of idea on how to move a analog stick to aim, put that on 0%. You're going to feel more consistent over time with your aim. You just naturally teaching you how to aim, how to put your crosshair on a target. This is literally aimbot for you, basically. It will snap onto the target. So if you're slightly off the target, you're missing, it's going to help you out. I personally do play with infantry aim assist on 100, and then I muck around with this. Sometimes I'm on 70, 60, 80, I don't know. I don't muck around with this a fair bit. I'd recommend just 100, because to explain how these all work, this is your stickiness on target. So your infantry aim assist is once you're on target, it's how sticky it is, how much it sticks to the character. The infantry aim assist slowdown is when you're going to flick onto a target with controller, right? Your analog stick's coming onto a target, right? That movement of going onto target slows down. So the aim assist kicks in and slows your aim down to get on target. Muck around with this to find something that you feel real comfortable. Like I said, I usually play like 85 to 60 to 50, depends on what I'm playing. 2042, I run like 60, I think it is. So this is something I play around with. Once I'm on target, I want to stay on target though, so run that on 100, because you don't want to be over flicking on controller, especially when it's crossplay, you're versing mouse and keyboard players and stuff like that. You want to be as accurate as possible, run that on 100. Soldier aim input curves, this is all personal preference. In previous Battlefield games, you can scroll through these and it'll tell you a little graph, okay? On 2042, the graphs tell you how much the input curves are. You just have to play around with them, find what you like. If you like older games like BF4, right, and how the input feels and the response curves feels to that, try that out, give it a go, you'll probably like it. But pretty much standard is just new 2042. This says BF 2042 old. That's the old BF 2042 stuff. Standard literally is just how the aim feels in 2042. Now I like to run standard in this game. Stick input acceleration presets. Do not even worry about this. If you even think about using this, I would just don't, right? Don't even touch it. Just put that on 0. Whatever this is, what is it? It's 50 on default, right? Just put it on 0. You do not want to be playing with acceleration. That's going to just lead to more inconsistencies in your aim, right? If you flick left and right on 0%, you know how much input you're putting in to reach a certain distance. With this on 50 or whatever, right? Trying to spin around and whatever is just going to feel horrible. Unless you're running like 50 in-game sense, like if your infantry aim sense is like 50 or 40 or whatever on controller, then maybe you want acceleration. But pretty much any good controller player I've ever met in my life does not like playing with acceleration. So if you want to be like every other good controller player I know and myself, turn that shit to 0. You do not want it. These movement, all personal preference, whatever works for you. If you look at it and you go, yeah, crouch, toggle, sprint, right? You know, like when you go to sprint, does it stand you up or does it leave you in crouch? You know, you're sprinting, you can crouch, sprint, or if you go to sprint, it stands you up. I prefer to stand up. If I want to sprint, I need to move, right? So me, stand up just makes sense. That's personal preference. Everything in here will be personal preference. Don't have to worry about binding a slide key because basically like your B or I don't know what the PlayStation equivalent is, but your slide button is already part of your keybinds, so you don't really need to bind any of that. I don't like vault over sprint, so if I'm sprinting towards cover, I want to get to the cover, not sprint towards the cover and then vault over it. Doesn't make sense to me. Turn that off. That's probably one of the biggest things I could probably say out of movement to turn off is vault over sprint, because you want to sprint up to cover, not sprint over the cover. I also turned that off. I think that is default. Crouch slide, I did change this. I changed it to all, so it works on crouch toggle and crouch hold. So you can set different binds, obviously, in Battlefield, where you can have a different crouch key for hold and toggle. I just set it to all, so it just works whenever I want to slide. If I'm sprinting and I hit the slide key, if I hit my crouch key, I'm going to slide. Right, pretty straightforward. Zoom. Okay, I want to talk about zoom a fair bit here because it's quite important to understand. Infantry weapon zoom. I'm running hold. Toggle is buggy at the moment. Toggle is very inconsistent. It's way more noticeable in vehicles though. Like if you run toggle and you're in a vehicle, you go to hit your left trigger to ADS, and you have to wait 2 seconds for it to ADS, and then it'll ADS, and there's a chance it could un-ADS you, or when you hit the left trigger again to un-ADS the toggle, you wait like 3 seconds, 4 seconds for it to un-ADS. It's very buggy, whereas I find hold is just more consistent. It's not giving me as many issues. So I just would recommend in this game currently, until they fix the inconsistencies with toggle aim, any form of aim, whether you're mouse and keyboard, controller, vehicles, or whatever, just run hold. Less inconsistent. Steady scope, I recommend toggle. Imagine you're trying to snipe, right, and you have to hold your left analog stick down. Doesn't sound that nice, right? So you're trying to snipe, you just click left analog stick down. You're holding your breath. Makes sense. Right. Vertical aim ratios. For the love of God, do not touch these. No one knows what these does unless you actually understand how vertical aim ratio works. Just do not touch it. I know very little, but I just know it's very complicated. It's weird. Don't touch it. Just leave it default. It'll save you a whole lot of trouble. And I've tried adjusting this in the past on other Battlefield games, and it just made me feel horrible trying to play. And I just went back to default. Infantry zoom sensitivity. Now, this is set to my mouse and keyboard sense at the moment, but I do run generally 100. But if you're finding like you're running 0% coefficient and it's just not slow enough, you're going to come in here, drop this down a couple of things. Just muck around with it. This is going to be personal preference. Just play around with it. I played around with it. I like it at 98. Just give that a go. You can also, if you're really wanting to adjust your zoom aim sensitivity 1.25. I haven't touched it. That's default. That's also personal preference. I changed interact and reload to prioritize reload because there's other options like interact to tap, reload to hold, reload to tap, interact to hold. A lot of these I genuinely feel like are going to be more battle royale focused, if you get what I mean. Like, when you're trying to open a door and stuff like that, I suppose, is what you kind of would be using that for. If I'm going to hit my X button or my reload button, where I think that's square for PlayStation, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. When I hit reload, right, I want to reload. I don't, if I'm looking at a door, but I want to reload, I want to reload. You know what I mean? So I've just set that to prioritize reload. So if I need bullets, I can reload straight away. These, I think the default on hold. I prefer to have them on hold. Like, if I want to skip the revive, I'll hold it. If I want to hold out and stay alive, like in the down phase, and request a revive, I prefer to hold it. Because it holds your life. Like, you're holding your life. You're not, in this game, it's not just requesting a revive, you're actually holding your life. Like, you're waiting longer, if that makes sense. I haven't touched inverting anything. I haven't really touched this either, mount breakout. That's when you like mount a bipod or something against something. It's pretty much as soon as you're wanting to like, get out of that position by looking around. I've just said that to instant. Just makes sense to me. As soon as, like, if I need to get out of a bipod situation, I want it to be instant. I don't want to be a short period or a long period waiting for me to be able to get out of a bipod situation where I'm like, oh crap, I need to move, and I can't because of the short or long delay. So make sure that's on instant, really. Interacts. This is weird. I don't like this, how they've done this. Interacts is on or off. But yet, when you look at interacts as the thing, set whether interacts are hold or toggle. I wish DICE would set this to hold or toggle, not on or off, because we don't actually know without interacting with stuff whether that's hold or toggle. I don't know. I've just left that default. That's just default, right? No, that's default. Off default. So, yeah, I wish they would just tell us, but yeah. Default's off. I might just leave it off. It was on, but I'm going to just leave it off. Right. Control settings, okay. In my infantry control mapping, the default binds for controller is left bumper is your ping and comma rows. This is not like previous Battlefields. Previous Battlefield games is right bumper for ping and comma rows, and then left bumper for grenade. This game, it's the opposite. Left bumper for ping, right bumper for grenade. So imagine every time you go to ADS, but you want to ping the guy, you have to tap left bumper first and then hold left trigger. That annoys me. I don't like that. I immediately changed this back to how Battlefield is with all the other Battlefield games. I ADS, I tap right bumper, I spot the person, and then I pretty much go from tapping right bumper to holding right trigger. Like, I just slide my finger down, right? So I tap right bumper, slide my finger down to the right trigger, and shoot. This has always made sense to me. This is how I've always played Battlefield. You know, I try to spot as much before I shoot, right? So I spot my target and then shoot, so my team are aware of the threat. Putting this all back to how Battlefield is just makes sense to me, right? So if you're like me, come in here, change these around, rebind them to right bumper for ping, left bumper for grenade, and then toggle camera was also on right bumper. I've just changed that around to left bumper as well, so it's just as it is, how it was, right? The same button for grenade and toggle camera. Yeah. I haven't changed anything else. Those are the only things I have changed, is swapping my bumper binds around because I did not like them. They felt horrible. Right. Ground vehicles. Okay, so all these vehicles are all controllable, really, under ground vehicles. So if you come in here, right, you got vehicle item sensitivity. I turn that to 100. I want to be 100 because this is for your planes, your helicopters, your tanks, everything. Every vehicle in the game is under this slider. Put that on to 100 because you want as much speed as possible, and then adjust everything else. Obviously, no inverted. I don't like inverted. It's weird. Increase your field of view to max in a vehicle. You want to be able to see as much around you as possible when you're in third person. Just awareness, of course. I've dropped my controller sensitivities from, I believe there's a 100 as default. I personally have really liked using like a lower sensitivity, so I've gone to 54. 54, 55, 56 sensitivity have always felt nice in previous battlefields for me, so I just drop these down. You might want to copy these. It'll feel really nice. Again, here's an input curve. I play these on standard, but if you're used to BF4 vehicles or whatever, you can adjust these. Feel free, that's personal preference. I like standard. Here we go again with the acceleration presets. Like I said, just turn that shit to 0. No one likes that. No one wants it. Any good player I know just doesn't like it. Turn that shit to 0. UVA, or Uniform Vehicle Aiming, I turn that on, 133%. Just leave that as is. Feels really nice. I've got my aim sensitivities here again, so it's the same thing as the last one. Vehicle Aim Assist is your stickiness. Vehicle Aim Assist Slowdown is your the aim assist slowing your aim down as you're getting onto target, and then you've obviously got your auto rotation or zoom snap. Like I said, if you're brand new to FPS, you've never touched a controller in your life, turn that to 100. It's fine. You're learning, right? But if you have any like idea of how to play and aim on a controller, turn that to 0. Work on your aim. You'll feel a lot more consistent on your natural ability to aim after a while. It might feel a little bit weird because the zoom snap is not aimbotting for you, basically. When you tap left trigger, it doesn't just aimbot onto target if you're missing. So if you want to figure out how to be a good player and actually learn how to aim on a controller, turn that to 0. But yeah, I run max aim assist and slowdown on the turret, so just like if I get on target, I want to be able to stay on target and kill things. And in a vehicle, it's a bit wonky and like, hey, how you going kind of thing, so it just makes sense for me to have them both on 100 and then zoom snap on 0, because I know how to use a controller. These three here, I prefer to have vehicle aim relative controls off, because when you turn to look in a direction while you're operating a vehicle, the vehicle will turn that way. But having it off, like if you're driving straight forward in a tank and then you look right with the turret when it's on, your tank is going to turn right. With it off, if you're driving straight forward in a line and you look right with your tank barrel, your tank's still going to continue going straight. So I like to have that off, so just I'm in more control and feel more comfortable. Because if I'm trying to reverse out of a situation, but I've got to be swinging around my turret trying to kill people, you know, like I want to be able to reverse straight and also aim around. So have that off if you like that as well. You want to also make sure these are on. Decouple tank turret from aiming and decouple aiming from turning. So like you want them decoupled. You don't want the tank turning and your aim turning as well. Like you want to be able to still maintain where you're aiming, and you get to decide where you're aiming is gonna. So just make sure these are on. It makes a hell of a difference. Vehicle boost. This is probably one of the biggest things I can give you in ground vehicle control settings, or just vehicle control settings in general. When you're in a jet or something, it helps with dogfighting, gives you a lot more control over your gas usage, your boost usage. If it's set to toggle and you hit toggle and you forget to turn off the toggle, you're just going to use all your gas, all your boost, use all that energy, And when it comes to dogfighting, that's just not how you win. It's quite difficult. Setting that to hold allows you to decide when you need a boost, and just gives you a lot more control in dogfights. When it comes to speed control and stuff like that, you don't want to be just dumping your gas. You want to be in control. You want to be smart with it. Yet again, vehicle weapon zoom. Turn that to hold. Toggle is buggy. When I said earlier, when you ADS with toggle on, it takes like a second or two to ADS, and then when you untoggle, it takes like 2-3 seconds to un-ADS again. So there's a big delay, a very, very noticeable delay on toggle aim in vehicles right now, but it's not really noticeable when you use hold, so I'd recommend using hold. And yeah, obviously vehicle aim ratio, do not touch. All my other binds, default. The control custom settings map custom for everything is just because of us customizing our initial ground vehicles. So by customizing your initial ground vehicles control settings, you pretty much change everything you need to change. The only thing I can think of changing is you go into here and you've got your aircraft control sensitivity, your third-person camera roll. Make sure your aircraft control sensitivity is 100. You want your jet to be as responsive as possible, feeling as nice as possible. And yeah, all these are the same as we were talking about before. Acceleration, 0%, input curve, standard, all that. Vehicle boost, whatever. This is all pretty much default outside of that. Helicopter, same thing. It's all titted with already. So I don't really need to change anything out of all these vehicle settings. Joystick, this is not your controller dead zones. Joystick is a joystick, like a flight sim joystick, if you will. Controller tuning is what you're looking for. You come into controller tuning, and this is where your dead zones are, your controller vibration. Turn your vibration off. There is zero reason to ever have vibration on. It's only going to make you feel more inconsistent with your aim because you're trying to micro adjust with a controller, a little analog stick, trying to micro adjust with an analog stick, and your controller's vibrating. It just throws you off. It's not a good thing. No one good uses controller vibration. Only vibration game I'd ever use, game I'd use vibration in, would be like a racing game, but I don't even use vibration during racing games either. Like, that would be the only time I'd think about using it. Turn that off. It's gross. Feels yuck. Never use it. If you use it, you're weird. Just know that. Controller dead zones. Massive. Big ones here. Biggest difference in the ability to aim on Battlefield, in my opinion. These default are horrendous. Disgusting. Right? I learnt from one of the best controller players I've ever known. Let him rest in peace, Geordie. I watched his videos, I used his settings, and it made me night and day difference better. The control and feel I had out of my controller, the response with the analog sticks, how it felt with the aim and micro adjusting, night and day difference. So please, just listen up here. This is probably the most important stuff out of everything when it comes to aiming, in my opinion. Axle dead zones, I turn this to 0. It cancels each other out. I set that to 0. That's what Geordie told me to do. I don't actually understand it too much, but I've set them to 0 since I watched Geordie's video, and it's been a night and day difference. I feel a lot more better having it on 0. I've tried on default, I've tried max, I've tried 0 to see, oh, what's the difference? What was he on about? Let's see what he's on about here. I've tried them out. They feel horrible, right? Throw axial dead zones on 0, and then center dead zones. These are the ones you want to adjust as minimal as possible without stick drift. So say you get stick drift on 2, right? I use 2. This is my dead zones. I use 2. I have a very good controller. Very, very good controller. A Razer Wolverine V3 Tournament Edition. It's got, I think, like holocast sticks or whatever. Really, really good. Basically designed not to suffer from stick drift. But if you have stick drift, these are the ones you want to change. So if you get stick drift on 2, put it up to 3, right? If you get stick drift on 3, put it up to 4. If you get stick drift on 4, put it up to 5. If you get any more over like 10, buy a new controller. If your stick drift is still playing up over 10, I would personally just buy a new controller. Because the lowest you can go with this is how more responsive and micro adjustments going to feel. Like micro adjustments going to feel a lot more responsive, a lot more tidier, a lot more just enjoyable to use. So drop those down as low as possible. If you get stick drift, I know people who even play through stick drift because they want lower dead zones. So just go as low as you can go to the comfortable without too much stick drift or no stick drift at all, and enjoy. Like I said, these are the biggest things I can recommend changing. Dead zones, the left trigger dead zone, right trigger dead zone set to 0 as default. The default for the threshold though is like 100. Pretty much when you pull your trigger down, when you pull your trigger, it's the activation point of pulling your trigger. So if you, for 0% or 5%, right, if I even think about tapping my right trigger or my left trigger, it's going to ADS and shoot, right? So I want these as low as possible, so as soon as I put any pressure onto them, they respond, right? I want them to be very, very, very responsive. I see a person, I want to bring my gun up as soon as possible, and I want to be shooting as soon as possible. Lower these down to 5. Do not have them default. Even on a standard Xbox controller, right, where you've got a full normal trigger pull, you don't have trigger stops, drop this down to as low as it can go on 5, and it will just feel a lot more responsive. You'll feel a lot more in control. I do not use gyro. I'm on a Xbox controller. I've never used gyro. I wouldn't know how to use it. So I do apologize. I can't give you guys any form of guide on gyro, and I do not use flick look. I've seen a few people use clips of flick look. To me, it's lazy. If you're going to 180, just 180 and look around. The only time I could think this might be useful is if like you're on 50, 40 in-game sense, right? Your infantry sensitivity is extremely low. Then I might look into these, but I use quite a high sensitivity. 180ing has never been an issue for me. I feel like me trying to bind an extra button to 180 is just going to confuse the situation even more. And it's going to waste a binding on my controller, which I could be using for something else. There's not a lot of buttons on controller. Wasting a bind to 180 sounds really stupid to me, so I just wouldn't recommend it. But if you're really low sensitivity, give it a go. Give it a look. You might like it. Yeah, that's going to do it for the controller settings guide, guys. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate watching through the video. I hope you have a better time after setting up all these settings and you feel a lot more comfortable with your aim on controller. And yeah, hope you guys have been enjoying the beta. Enjoy the rest of the beta. Bring on October. I can't wait for the full release. And we can get off the older Battlefield games, you know what I'm saying? I'm a little skeptical on the new game, of course. It's got some issues. But so far, I haven't hated my time on the new BF6 beta. So yeah. But much love, guys. I'm live on Twitch nearly every day as well, so if you guys want to go check out my Twitch, they'll be in the description below. Also, my link tree will be in the description below. Go check that out. Join the Discord, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, stay safe. Appreciate you guys watching. Catch you next time. Peace.